I said more and better and safer sex because, it's right there with you. It's in the house, okay? So, one sign of a full, happy life is an active, good, and safe sex life. Hello, my name is Bill Jamison. Welcome to 24/7 Dad Class. This is our 6th session. If you're just joining us and you don't have your workbook, just get a pen and pad and follow along. When you get the workbook, you can fill it in. If this is your first session with us, you can start here and go to the end and then start over again until you get back to this point. We're in the 6th session or the 6th class. Today we're going to be talking about the father's role. Okay, and I would like to ask a couple of warm-up questions to get started. And the first one is that, what is one memory you have of your father? One memory that you have of your father or a father figure in your life. Okay, I'd like for you to just write that down or think about it and just respond to that question. And then the second question I have for you is that, what was unique about that memory? What is unique about that memory, I might say? What is unique to you about that memory? Okay, then we want to take a look at the ideal father. What do you think the ideal father had that makes him an ideal father? I wrote in my book, I went through the same workbook as you, and I just dealt with it as a student. And I wrote, the ideal father is one who's gentle, considerate, yet firm when he needs to be. And he teaches his children to have self-confidence, self-esteem, and to respect others. That's what I think of an ideal father. What do you think about an ideal father? Take a few minutes and write down your thoughts. And then when you get done with that, we're going to look at the duties of the ideal father. What do you think the duties of an ideal father should be? Well, I wrote, the duties of an ideal father, in my estimation, is a father that loves, that provides, that protects, and nurture his wife and children. Notice I add nurture to that. I think in the past I would have said protect and provide, but I believe a father's role is also to nurture. And I see more of that today, especially with young fathers than I did in my early days. Okay, and now we're going to move on to look at another aspect of the father's role, but this time we want to talk about what kind of father or partner you are. And I could put it in the first person. What kind of father or partner am I? That's the question I want you to respond to. Okay, and there are about 15 responses that you have in your workbook. And for those of you who do not have a workbook, I'll just read them out and you can jot them down and respond to them. Okay, and I think you will see at the end that you can sort of compare yourself to see where you are in relationship to an ideal father. The first trait that we want to look at is that an ideal father listens to others' point of view. Do you listen to others' point of view? And if you do you listen as a father or as a partner or both? And when I say partner, I mean that you may not be a father, but you are a partner to a person, okay? Still, you're going to look at that relationship and how effective you are in communicating and interacting with other people. 2, I can bargain and deal when I need to. Can you bargain and deal with others when you need to? Do you do that as a father or as a partner or both? I am clearly in charge. Are you clearly in charge as a father? Or are you clearly in charge as a partner? I expect others to follow the rules I set down as a father or as a partner. I do that as a father, but I don't necessarily do that as a partner. Okay? And you can respond to that the way you see it. And 5, I demand respect. I demand respect as a father and as a partner. That's something I do on both sides. I always demand respect because I give respect. And I think that that is appropriate. If you give respect, you should expect respect. Okay? And 6 is I tell others what I think and feel in healthy ways. Notice the emphasis is on healthy. I tell people what I think and feel in a healthy way, not in a provocative way, not in a mean way or a way that will lead to escalation of negative feelings, but rather in a healthy way. Do I do this as a father, as a partner? Okay? And then number 7 is I'm willing to change my ideas. Now that's one for you. Are you willing to change some of your ideas? How stuck are you on the things that you think you know? And are you willing to change your ideas as a father or as a partner? That is the question. And this is question 8, or statement 8, I might say. I show a sense of closeness to those I love. I show a sense of closeness to those I love. I do that as a father. I do that as a partner. Or I just do it one or the other. But myself, I do both. Okay? Number 9, I like being in control. Do I do that as a father or do I do that as a partner? I wrote that I like to be in control with partners, but not necessarily with dad. And I just think that sometimes we need to allow family members to have more freedom in the relationship. And that's why I said that, okay? And then the 10th area that we're looking at here is that I enjoy spending quality time with my family. Do you do that as a partner or do you do that as a father? Okay. 11, I'm able to listen to the good as well as the bad. Do you do that as a partner or as a father? Okay. And then number 12, I'm clearly seen as a friend. Are you clearly seen as a friend, as a partner, or as a father? Number 13, others can come to me to talk. Are you open for others to come to you and talk as a partner or as a father? 14, I am caring and giving. Are you caring and giving as a partner or as a father, or both? And then the last one, number 15, I have fun easily. Do you have fun easily as a father or as a partner? And it's good to be honest about where you are so that you can improve. So this is not really to make you feel bad or to try to measure yourself against others or compare yourself with others, but it's really to take a realistic assessment of where you are so that you can improve. And that's what we're trying to do with this. We're not trying to lay blame on anyone. We're just assessing where we are. And you can take these 15 aspects of the ideal father, if you will, and apply them to yourself and see what you come up with, okay? Now let's move on and look at the benefits of marriage. But let me just preference this by saying, if you're not married, don't take offense and don't feel guilty that you're not married. But we want to deal with factual information, and we found that there are some benefits in being married. So we want to pass those on to you so that you would be aware of that, and that may help you in making decisions in the future or even this very day. So we'll start with one benefit of marriage is what? What do you think one benefit of marriage is from your point of view? Do you have a benefit of marriage that you can sort of write down right away? Think about that and tell us what it is. Write it down. I wrote, you have someone to share life with. That's the benefit I see. Because you are made to marry and procreate. That word is a fancy word for saying to have children, to reproduce yourself. And I said two are always better than one. There is a creative strength in the relationship of two. There is an energetic strength in the relationship of two. There is a very, what I want to say, productive energy in the relationship of two. There is help in the relationship of two. And so I think it's a good thing to be married. Let's take a look at 7 benefits of being married. And the first benefit is healthy children. Healthy children. Now notice, in order to have healthy children, you have to be healthy yourself. If you're healthy, your children most likely will be healthy. And I mean, if they have some kind of physical malady, that's one thing. But I mean healthy in the sense of relationships and getting along with others and thriving, if you will, in life. That's the kind of health that I'm talking about here. And let me just read a statement from the workbook, and you can read along with me. And it says, healthy children. Children who grow up in a home with 2 married parents are healthier, on average, than children who grew up in a home in which their parents just lived together. Children who grow up with their married parents are, for example, less likely to be abused and to be misbehaved or to drop out of school. These children are more likely to have good marriages of their own. They are also less likely to face teen pregnancy and drug or alcohol abuse. Marriage gives children the best chance at a healthy life. And that's the caption I have here. The healthy life generates healthy children. So a healthy relationship between the father and the mother can really be beneficial to the children. All right, so the next area we will look at, number 2, healthy marriages leads to strong relationships with children. You can have a stronger relationship with your children if you are married, okay? And the narrative here is that marriage provides the best chance for fathers to create strong relationships with their children. Men who wait to have children until they are married are 3 times more likely to be involved in their children's lives than the men who have kids outside the marriage. Let me just read this again. Marriage provides the best chance for fathers to create strong relationships with their children. Men who wait to have children until they're married are 3 times more likely to be involved in their children's lives than are men who have kids outside marriage. Okay? So I think that, again, to have strong relationships with your children is a byproduct of a strong and gracious marriage. Okay? All right, so let's look at another aspect of marriage here, the benefit. We've talked about two so far. So the third benefit of marriage is better family finances. Okay? More money. Okay? And the narrative is, in your book, married couples have twice the money and assets than unmarried couples do. This can create a better financial future for the couple and their children. Married men are also more likely to save and invest when they have the same income as unmarried men. Marriage also comes with tax, inheritance, and Social Security benefits. Marriage can help you make the most of your family finances. So it is really a fact that men do better financially in marriages than they do otherwise. And married men actually have more money, and they really manage the money much better than single men. Oftentimes because of the woman's input. Women tend to be pretty good managers, and so they assist the man. In fact, some women just take over the bills. They're better at it than men, so they do the bills, even though the men might make the money, but they have a relationship. And I think whoever is good with money is the one that really should manage that money. Well, if both of you are working at it, you're going to do better than one person's working at it. But with more money, your children are going to be more better taken care of, rather. And when you have money, economically, you do better. And it affects every aspect of life. And so marriage really affords you more resources, more finances to live the life you want to live. Now, the fourth benefit of being married is fuller or happier lives. I call it the happy man, okay? I think that men who are married tend to be happier than men who are not married. Now, obviously that's a general statement, and for every general statement you could come up with a specific case that would be otherwise, but generally speaking, I think this is true. The narrative in your book says that married men are most likely to say they are happy than are unmarried men. After divorce, men are worse off overall than are women. The well-being of the family is the highest priority for most married men. So, in other words, to take care of someone or be responsible for taking care of someone really puts you in a different mode than when you don't have that responsibility, or that responsibility is not on you. You're living away from the family or from the mother of your children and the child. So there's something about being there in the relationship that makes the difference. And so the well-being of the family is the highest priority of most married men. When men focus on their wives and their children, not just on themselves, it helps them to lead full, happier lives. And that's what I was saying before. Married men are also less likely to be depressed. Now that's something to think about. Marriage gives men more family members they can turn to for social, emotional, and financial support. Marriage can benefit you through a focus on the family. So by you focusing on the family, it really helps you to live a fuller and happier life as a man. Okay, so let's look at the fifth benefit of marriage, and that is a long, healthy life. And I call it the good life. The narrative in the book says that a full life, happy life, often leads to a long, healthy life. On average, married men live longer than do unmarried men. Married men are more likely to take care of themselves. For example, They are more likely to stay in shape and to get medical help when they need it. Married men are less likely to do things that can hurt them, such as smoking, drinking, or using illegal drugs. Marriage can give you a great chance at a long, healthy life. Now, I think that's a pretty good benefit of being married. And I call this the good life. So that is a benefit of being married, is that you're healthier and you live better. Okay. Now the sixth benefit of marriage is that you will find more or better and safer sex. That's what I said, more and better and safer sex, because, it's right there with you. It's in the house, okay? So, one sign of a full, happy life is an active, good, and safe sex life. I buy that. Married couples say they have sex more often than do unmarried people. Married men say they have better sex than do unmarried men. Married men work hard to build healthy relationships with their wives. They know that sex is best when they stay faithful to one woman. I want to say that the relationship you have with your wife really determines the extent of your sexual activity. And that sexual activity can be enhanced exponential by the kind of relationship you have and what you do for one another and how you regard one another. And so I think it's an area that we really have to work at. And even in many marriages, men don't always live up to that. In other words, they don't always do the things that will enhance that relationship. And, some women are guilty of that as well. But if you work together at your relationship in other things, in asexual matters, what I mean by asexual matters, I mean, doing things that are not sexual, but they are relational. But the relational affects the sex. For instance, if you help the wife to wash the dishes, or if you change the baby's diaper, or if you help around the house, or if you spend time in the park together, or whatever, those things actually impact what you do in the bed, or what you do when you actually have intercourse, okay? And you will find a difference in response when you're at odds with someone, or when you're angry with them, or when you're in an antagonizing relationship, even though you may have sex, because that is a human need, if you will. You will do that, but you won't enjoy it as much. So the secret to enjoying a sexual relationship with your wife is how you treat her and how she treats you, how you all relate to one another. And that is something that I think we all have to work at. I've had to work at that, my wife and I believe every married couple has to work at that. But it can get better. It can get better and better. It just depends on your willingness to work on it. Okay, very good. Also, married men, they know that sex is best when they stay faithful to the one woman, as we said before. They also know that sex is best when they are emotionally close to their wives. And that's what I was talking about. Okay. When a husband and a wife are faithful, sex is safer physically and emotionally. There's little chance that you will get a sexual disease if you and your wife are faithful. So here again, it's about faithful, and it's about being committed to one person. Okay? Don't be afraid to be committed to one person. Okay? And a lot of times that relationship just depends on what you put into it. Okay? Marriage can give you the best chance for an active, great, and sex safe or safe sex life. All right, there you have it for sex. I'm all for that, and I think most men would be. But I just want you to know that that's a benefit marriage. The last benefit, the seventh benefit, is that it increases your faithfulness. In other words, the discipline of being committed to one person, the discipline of being committed to your family, the discipline of working and providing, the discipline of nurturing the wife and children turns into a really effort to be faithful. So it enhances your faithfulness, and behind your faithfulness is reward. You actually benefit from that, whether you know it or not. And so in your book, it talks about a meaningful life. What is a meaningful life? One reason that sex is better and safer in marriage is that married men and women, on average, are more faithful to each other than are men and women who simply live together or date. When you live with someone and when you're not tied to that person legally, you might say that a marriage license really doesn't make a difference because you really love the person or you having a relationship with it. But that's really not true. And let me tell you why it's not true. It's not true because when you do something, the way you do it and the reason you do it is always paramount in the relationship. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. I think this is very important. Is that if you get ready to get married and you have to have a prenuptial agreement, which is a contract with a person that says if this and this doesn't happen or does happen, I can get out of this relationship. Well, what you're saying is that you're not sure. What you're saying is that I'm skeptical about this or I don't trust this person. Then if that is the case, you really shouldn't go into it. But if you do go into a marriage with a prenuptial agreement, you've already set up failure. Because in the back of your mind, you have a way out. So when things get tough and when you don't like what you see, you're ready to back out. And your partner or your wife is too, because you have set the elements of your relationship. You set the terms of it. And believe me, terms that you set make a difference. It will always be there. Now, let me give you another example of this same thing, but in a different way. I, in my lifetime, have co-signed for 3 people. One time I co-signed for a young man in the military to get a car. Okay? He was a nice guy. He was my friend. I co-signed for him, and guess what? I ended up paying for the vehicle. Because he didn't pay for it. Why didn't he pay for it? Because he knew that I was on the hook for it and I would. In the back of his mind, that was always there. It was always there. But if I hadn't done it and it was on him, it would be a totally different story. He would find a way. Or at least he would take the responsibility for it. But when he knew that I ultimately had the responsibility, he abdicated. I also signed for my daughter. And guess what? She did the same thing with me. I co-signed in another case. And the same thing happened. Now, what am I saying to you? When you set conditions beforehand for a relationship, those conditions will determine the outcome, in most cases, of the relationship. Now, there may be exceptions to this, but for the most part, that is true. So what I'm saying to you is that in marriage, you want to go into it with your feet on the ground, with your eyes open, and you want to do it with a person that you really feel has a mutual love and respect for you, and you for her. You're going to do much better. But if you go in it with any selfishness or pretenses about what it may be later on, then that is the wrong basis to develop the relationship in the first place. So I'm saying to you is that marriage then helps you to learn to be faithful, to learn to be committed. And that's what's missing in our society today is that people are not faithful and they are not committed. And guess who suffers when that happens? The children. Because they're going to have to go with mom or dad or be torn apart by the both of them. And that creates hostility in them. It creates rebellion in them. It creates unhealthy exposure to things. It causes them to maybe relate to people that don't care about them. They're just there for the relationship, for the other partner. And so those things really have an impact on them. But a 24/7 dad will never do that. A 24/7 dad understands the benefit of marriage or the benefit of being faithful to one person. Okay? And so there you have the 7 benefits of marriage. And I want to take the time to go through these. Now, what I want you to do is to go ahead and do the checklist that you have there. And the checklist the checklist is a place where you can now look at some areas that you want to work on in your relationship. Whether you want to do it now or later, you can still do it. And you can still do it even if you're not married yet, because ultimately you may be in that position, or you may have a relationship with another, with a woman or whatever, and you want to be able to get the best out of a relationship. But more important, you want to live your best life. And the best life is really a life where you are being benefited from the things you do, and others are being benefited by the things you do as well, such as your children. Your children will benefit from your healthy relationship with their mother. Well, I can see that my time is up. I want you to get ready for session 7. And you know what? When you get there, I'll be there. See you in session 7. All right. Bye-bye.